Welcome back to Crypto Front. This is the front line where we are fighting together side by side for financial freedom. Let's go ahead and take a look at ICP Internet Computer Protocol, because really this is an exciting asset. I think over the last week it is the hottest in crypto right now. It is really a great feeling to be an ICP holder, because we advocate for this thing over and over again, and seeing the price rising the way it has done over the last week when everything else is almost down is great advertisement for what the product is. I hope we are taking a lot of people under the ICP tent, and we'll get to price targets that we eventually want to get to. You can see that I have got targets as high as like $100 here for ICP Internet Computer Protocol. I think, of course, from where we are today, we are a little bit far from that, but it's not to say that it's impossible that we're going to be reaching levels like $100 and stuff like that. Because what we have learned over the last week is that, look, this price action that ICP had been doing for the last 10-11 months was just wiped out by 1 week of price action. So that also would suggest that, you see, this 4-year downward price action that you see here on ICP could also just be wiped out in a month or something like that. This really is the nature of crypto. We have, of course, also seen something like that with a good example of Zcash. You can see over the last 4 years, pretty much beaten down, and then just in the last few months it rises all the way up there. So these are things that we have come to expect in the crypto market, and ICP being still part and parcel of this market, it would not be surprising for me to see this thing reaching levels as high as like $100 in almost no time, because that's what we have seen over and over again. Last bull runs, it was things like Ethereum Classic, Litecoin and stuff. So let me go ahead and show you what I think immediate short term is going to be happening here with the price, and obviously the latest developments that we can see on chain. But before we start, I want to kindly ask you to help me spread the video by delicately tapping the like button. It really tells the YouTube algorithm that yes, this may be short, it is straight to the point, and the video will be shown to as many people as possible. If you're also new to the channel, please subscribe, because I do TA on ICP and a number of other different altcoins on a regular basis. Without me further running my mouth too much, let me show you the latest information that we have from IC Terminal, and we can see that the rally that we are seeing is not just artificially motivated by market makers. Rather, the biggest ICP holders have actually been accumulating as the price has been going up. This is what you want to see for a fundamental project, that the people who have got at least 100k in terms of ICP. So at this point, these are people with almost close to $1 million. They are really still accumulating the price. Usually in a lot of these altcoins, you see that when the price really rises that quick, you see the top holders dumping the token, making money out of that. But it's a totally different situation here for ICP, meaning that these people with almost $1 million holding ICP are very much bullish, right? We are also seeing that we are having somewhat of a supply shock when it comes to Coinbase, because the reserves have actually plunged, meaning a lot of people are taking ICP off of exchange, potentially deciding to keep ICP off of Coinbase and maybe in a cold storage or anything like that. Now, this is kind of important, because when you take your coins or your assets off of an exchange, it shows that you don't have an intent to sell this asset. So long term, that is actually very much bullish. If we had seen the price rising, and then we also see that a lot of coins are flocking towards an exchange, it would suggest that, okay, look, people are now incentivized to go ahead and sell ICP. But we are seeing the opposite of that. So this all is suggesting to me that, okay, ICP has got a good chance to still continue going a little bit much more higher, because fundamentally speaking, we're looking pretty good. The other thing that I'm looking at very much closely is the funding rates here when it comes to ICP. Basically, this is almost like a difference between the longs and the shorts, and still up until this point, ever since like the 11th of October, we are still seeing that a lot more people are bearish on ICP. They are betting on the prices to fall a little bit. So slowly but surely, we are trying to turn this into positive, meaning eventually we're going to be having a lot more people longing ICP, and that could also mean that market makers have to do the opposite and crush the price a little bit down. But we haven't gotten there yet, so we'll see how this develops in the coming few days. But up until this point, this has been negative, meaning a lot of people were betting against ICP, and they were proven very much wrong right there. Now we're also seeing that we're getting into a little bit of dangerous territory, in the sense that any moment from now we can have a little bit of a pullback from ICP, in the sense that when we take a look at the amount of positions, we are now seeing that we have got more people going long on ICP than short, which is, to be honest with you, a little bit of the opposite what I said right here. So I think it's only a matter of time before these two metrics reconciliate, because what we are looking at here is like totally two different narratives happening at the same time. So we're having more people, at least on Binance, being long than short, and that's not usually great, because the market makers, once again, they try to prove the side which is overconfident wrong. And again, here we are seeing that generally speaking, when we take a look at everything else, we are seeing more shorts than long. So a little bit of a confusing thing right there. Again, it's just a matter of time to see what eventually plays out right there. But I have to say, there are some things which I never expected from ICP here, at least immediate short term, that we can see in the last 24 hours, almost $3 billion in terms of futures have been traded on ICP. When it comes to the spot volume, meaning people just buying the underlying asset and selling it, we are right around $700 million. Again, these are all big numbers, meaning momentum is with ICP Internet Computer Protocol. So we're looking quite safe right there. Another thing that I've been looking at is this downward sloping resistance on ICP. There are two reasons why I'm looking at this. We can see that it's around $10. And I think psychologically speaking, $10 is an important level for a lot of people. It also happens to be an area in which, if the price rises a little bit, we would have formed 1, 2, 3 touch points, which are enough to draw a trend, and this would be a downtrend for ICP. So in the case that the price goes ahead and breaks this whole thing, we can say that, okay, officially we have broken the downtrend. We can see as far back as like March 2024, and that will be a breath of fresh air for ICP. So this is kind of an important level right around that $10. We're also seeing that, okay, if we look left, this happens to be some kind of an area of traffic, a little bit of resistance right there. So one of the most important levels here for ICP, I would not be surprised, to be honest with you guys, if we see some kind of a pullback happening from there. But I wouldn't necessarily say that, the rally is over for ICP, because that's way too early. Of course, we have got the indicators like the RSI screaming that ICP is overbought right at this point. But if we have learned anything in the past, is to say that, okay, look, even when you have got the RSI right around like 94, thereabout, you can pull back, of course, yes, as you can see in this instance, but that does not mean you can go even way higher than that, even with a bearish divergence here on the RSI. So it's not just to say that, okay, look, the RSI is like around 92 here for ICP, so a pullback is due. Yeah, it can be due maybe like a minus 15, minus 20, minus 30% pullback, but what if the price goes on to rise another 100%? So these are kind of things that we have to look at in the coming few days and stuff like that. The general point being that we are getting towards $10, a psychological resistance. We can say it is not definitive right at this point that we'll get rejected from there, and even if we get rejected, we actually cannot predict if that was the end of this rally, and then we can see ICP pulling back one more time. Again, it's going to require a little bit of time, as we have seen in the past, that you can conclude that, okay, it's overbought. Then again, it goes, another 100% towards the upside. So yeah, let's see what eventually happens when we get to that $10 mark. But as far as we are right now, I think ICP is looking great. If we manage to break this downward sloping resistance, I would actually be coming back here and screaming one more time that, look, we are headed for that $100 here for ICP. So two resistances, $15, $21, $22 thereabouts, and yeah, let's see what eventually happens. Of course, we can pull off what Zcash did here in just like 2-3 weeks, then we are back at $100. That would just be super epic for ICP. At this point, actually, I may be favoring the bears to keep shorting ICP as much as they can, because this is exactly the fuel that ICP needs to liquidate everybody and keep pushing way higher. So, exciting times all over the place, and we are seeing that the whales are actually baking this move here for ICP, and this is exactly what we want to see. We don't want to see those big guys dumping on the price, because that's not too good, right? At the same time, Caffeine AI, if something drops massive, maybe we can see, that $100 one more time. But again, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's break that $10 if we can. If we're going to have a pullback from there, okay, no problem. We'll be looking back and trying to figure out where the support is. But maybe just on that note, I can say, preliminary speaking, we are looking at $6 as a potential support. But again, too early for that. Let's wait and see what kind of response that we get around this $10 mark, because it is quite significant for me. Horizontal resistance, thermal stopping resistance, at the same time very much psychological. But before I go, let me invite you to this amazing campaign that we have with Bitunix. There is up to $20,000 that you can walk away with. All you have to do between now and the 3rd of December is to participate in one of these events. So you can be a new user, just use the link that I've put in the description, and you can claim up to 400 USDT. And also, once you start trading and your trading volume keeps going higher and higher, the top 100 traders will go ahead and share this $20,000. So that's great altogether. And then, of course, there is this newbie bootcamp. So all you have to do also is complete some tasks right there, up to 500 USDT. Once again, the link is in the description. Go ahead, register, and use the referral code here, UGYY, and you are good to go. Nothing extra special to be done. Just go ahead and use the exchange, and they are paying you for that. Another campaign that we're running with MEXC, the exchange, is a share of $2,300. The process is almost the same with Bitunix. Go ahead, register, then trade on the exchange. Depending on your trading volume, you get to share part of this 2,300 USDT. So I want to thank you so much for watching the video. If you could, please delicately tap the like button, share the video with your friends and family, and I'll see you on the next one. Take good care of yourselves. Bye bye.